All right, so it looks like we are recording there. Let me just hide my little screen here out of the way. But yeah, so Coach, obviously been a crazy turn of events pretty much from March going forward. Can you kind of describe the emotions, not knowing going in if you'd even have a season? Now suddenly you do have a season. What all was going through your mind during that process?
The biggest thing I would say from last March all the way up to our first kickoff, we just kept repeating ourselves to the kids that you can only control the controllables. Like, there are going to be so many things outside of our control. We just have to make sure that we're ready to play if we get the opportunity. And these are like a lot of things that we talk about every year, but you get to put into place everything that you talk about because it's not many years you have a pandemic going on where you get to teach and coach some of those pillars, and the players actually have to apply them.
So obviously, it sounds like a lot of this has just kind of become, not only teaching these players a little bit about football, but also life and what it throws at you. What are some of the messages you've told your players?
For sure, we take a very holistic approach to our football program and who we develop, but the big one, controlling the controllables, that every day's a blessing, even practices. You never know when your last day is, or you're going to go 14 days into quarantine, which then you have to have 4 practices after that. So it could turn into 3 weeks. You're out real quick. So whatever opportunities that we're going to get, we're going to make the most of them. And the fact that they're not in it alone, that we're a team and that we're a support system for one another. And some people handle the stress really well and others don't. And so there's going to be days where people have bad days or days that people are stressed out, and that we just need to have each other's backs.
Now, you kind of talk about the team coming together to really be able to push through as a team. How would you say your team's responded to that?
Oh, outstanding. We've got 23 seniors. I don't think that we could pick a better group to lead us through uncertain times like this. They're a very close group overall. And so they're making sure we're doing things the right way, that we're promoting our culture, and that we're being competitive when we want to win football games.
You talk about the culture you're trying to promote. What is that culture? Can you kind of describe that to me?
Yeah, it's Delta football has been around for like 52 years. And so Delta, I think, has always been associated with very hardworking individuals, people that want to have our community back us and be proud that we're part of their community. We're going to do things the right way, and that it's very competitive here. It means something to be a starter at this school. We have 83 kids on our roster, and it's competitive every year. And the fact that those kids had to go out on their own and work for 3 months on their own and get ready says a lot about our culture, because they came in ready to play.
What were some of those things that your kids were doing on their own? How were they preparing for the season, not knowing there would be a season?
Sure, a lot of them would send videos. They'd go out and run. They would do the sprint work that we talk about. They would do weightlifting in their house, or like we had one individual that did a Navy SEALs training course thing. And so he worked on that, and it all carries over. But the fact that we weren't starting from scratch July 3rd meant a lot. Like, you could tell kids have been working, and we even commented as a coaching staff after our first practice, like, hey, we can make things a lot tougher. These kids are ready to go.
Wow, that's really unique. I kind of like that Army style. That's just kind of a unique twist to it. But, hey, you got to do what you got to do in these
That's
times
right.
for sure. So, you talk about what all they've done now. Now, you guys came back, and you guys, am I right in saying you guys had to quarantine as a team for 14 days, right?
Yes. So we went to school for 2 days, and we found out that a member of our team tested positive, and we all went on a 14-day quarantine. I think that time was good for us, that we kind of self-assessed again and said, hey, when we get back, like, every day is a blessing. Like, nothing's promised to us day to day. And it made us really kind of focus on what was important to us.
So how would you rate that impact on your team that quarantine had? Would you say overall there was more of a positive impact?
Absolutely. I almost look at it as, at the end of the season, and you get beat or you get put out of the tournament. there's always like a hunger or desire from the underclassmen that you feel right away. Like they would step right back onto the football field if they could to play a game. And I felt like our seniors felt like that way, that it had been taken away from them without them saying it was okay. They weren't prepared to say goodbye. So when they had an opportunity to come back, they were very motivated, very fired up.
Now, how would you say they've responded to that criticism, or not really the criticism, but I guess the doubts kind of being there that you guys may even have a season. You got put on quarantine. Obviously it's helped you guys grow, but what went into their response? What was unique, I guess, about that group?
Sure. I would say that the first day, well, it was incredible. The first day we got announced that we're on quarantine, we were one of the first schools to have happen. So it wasn't like you read what other schools have been doing. We were trying to get back to in-face instruction right away. And I love that approach. Like our school is trying to be one of the forerunners with that. But the problem is sometimes when you're on the front line, you take the first bullets. And so when we called the kids, I called every single senior that night. And they had already had an in-person Zoom meeting with all the seniors before I could even get a hold of them. And they said, hey, don't worry, coach, we're going to stay positive, and whatever happens, like we're going to be in this together, and that we're going to have a season. We're going to choose to look at it that way. And that gave me a lot of hope. That was inspirational to me, because sometimes it's hard to have those answers during this time for those 18-year-old boys saying, hey, we're definitely going to do this or we're not. They already chose to have a positive outlook and deemed that they were going to work towards the season, whether we're going to have one or not.
Wow, that's really special there. And to think, it's almost like you learn as much from your players as, they do from you. So that's really special. When it comes to coming back now, who do you credit for being able to play again? How did that unfold? And, who's really responsible for getting you guys back up on your feet?
Well, there's a lot of individuals, but if I start at the top, like the IHSA has done a great job. I know they take all types of criticism, but they stuck to their guns from June on, saying like, we're going to play. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know how many games, but we're going to get it in, and we're not going to push it to the spring to impede on baseball and track. I mean, they already lost one season. I could not imagine if they lost the second season. So IHSA was on board, and then really our school administration, our principal, our superintendent, they were active in saying, hey, we're going to do everything the right way, and we want there to be a sports season for you. So they did great jobs. And then, the assistant coaches and our seniors, they prepared for anything. I've thrown more at my assistant coaches in terms of we've changed our practices are drastically different than what they have been in the past. We're putting in more time. We're bringing in the varsity group at a different time, so the seniors are practicing differently. And then really the seniors have had a great attitude because they're not getting everything a normal season has. There's no team meals. There's no, we're not together in the cafeteria or in room 130 watching film. There's a lot of things that they're having to do on their own, but they've just had the best attitude. And I'm just really proud of them for that.
That's great to hear. Now, obviously, like you said, things have been different kind of off the field without the team meals, without, the meetings and everything. But how does it look different on the field?
Yeah. So after we got quarantined, we said, hey, we need to do something differently because we have 83 kids on our roster. And if you're just playing the percentage game, someone else is probably going to have symptoms or test positive. It's just the way it is with the numbers in the school. So we've broken our practice up from 3:45 to 5:30. Our JV and our freshmen practice, but practice separate from one another on the varsity field. They never mix. And then our coaching staff wears masks, and we make sure that we're 5 yards apart from players at all times so we can work with all groups. So half of that first practice, the JV gets offense, and then the second half, they get the defense, and the coaches just rotate. We don't bring our varsity kids into 5:30, and then we practice from 5:30 to 8 with our varsity. So they're not on the field. They're not even anywhere in the stadium. The other two groups are not together. That way, if we have something happen and someone tests positive, they don't bring down the whole program. They might just sink their group. Unfortunately, we had that happen, and our freshman team has yet to compete. They come back on Wednesday, but because we did that, they did not take out the JV and the varsity group.
Okay, so you guys really had to put a lot of thought into this overall and just really get creative then.
That's right. So you're talking about 3 days a week. The coaching staff is there, and they're coaching from 3:45 to 8 o'clock after they work their normal day jobs.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so they're troopers, man. We know what this means. Like the time and the sacrifice is worth it to get our kids on. And we've had to cut down our rosters. Like we would love to have 83 kids on our sideline for a game because we're proud of our numbers, but we only have 30. So we're going against these, these schools, these 3A, 4A schools, 5A schools coming up. We're only going to have 30 kids on our sideline because that's our varsity roster.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, you guys really have to, I'm sure, be in, the tip-top shape and really ready to go every single day.
It is. It's a Spartan mentality. They were selected for a reason, and they're all capable, and they all have to be ready. So we've really kind of rallied behind it. That hey, we might be a 4A school, but we're the little guy right now, and we're going to get things done.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, how many fans are you guys allowed to have in each game?
I believe at our home game we had 800 or 850. It was right around that mark. The Delaware County board worked with us, so we were able to get some. So it's not as many as some schools, but definitely more than I know Adams County. They're only having about 100. So it was a good mix of a group.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. What's it been like in terms of the impact on the players having less fans?
Yeah, I think that the fact that we had the people that love and support us in the stands, that it made up for not having a couple thousand people at one of our games. We have a 90-member band, and so they had their own set of bleachers on the field. So we had the band. That was great. We have 25 cheerleaders. They were there. And we had our JV team. They were in another set of bleachers at the other end of the field. And then we had all of our family and loved ones that we could fit, probably 600 people up there. So it was good. It was a good mix. It didn't feel like we were missing a lot.
Wow, that's really special there too. I know, actually, so I'm from kind of close to Adams County. My grandma's from that area too, so I know it's kind of crazy there, and what's going on there. Um, Now, the end of the season comes, and obviously, we don't know what's gonna play out the rest of the year with the, cooler temperatures coming and everything. But for you personally, what's going to be the most memorable thing of this season?
Oh man, I mean, just having a group that truly has battled adversity at every turn. Their off season, it was up in the air, and they had to do things on their own and battle through. July, we did things differently, and they had to battle through. We were on a quarantine, and they had to keep their mind right and stay mentally positive and keep their body good. And then you come back week one in your first games against the number one ranked team in 2A, who's not lost at home since like 2014, and to be able to get it done there and then have your senior night and hopefully make another memory this Friday against the green team. It's just going to be it's good. I'm going to be so proud of a group that just has had to battle through from day one.
Absolutely. You should be proud yourself and should be proud of all your guys. They're really, really coming together, it sounds like. So, overall, I guess, what is your message to your players, end of the day? Kind of, what would you tell them right now if the season were to end today? Just, what does it mean to you, what they've been able to do for this program?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about no win or loss defines them as individuals or them as a team, and that we've had a chance to form truly special relationships that we're going to be able to look back on and joke about and laugh and cry about for a long time. And that just I'm proud of them that they've already proved that they can handle the toughest that life could throw at them, and they're going to be fine, which should send a great message to like their future employers and wives and kids and everyone that you're going to have a tough group that's going to be able to get things done through adversity. That says a lot about them.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, thank you very much for your time. That's all I've got for you in terms of questions and everything. I may be getting a hold of you in the coming weeks. Obviously, like I said, I'm on quarantine, so I'm trying to, be as safe as I can. But
Sure.
as soon as my, period of time is over, which I've got just a week left, I don't know if this would be possible, going forward here, but I would like to potentially, grab some highlights from another game and potentially talk to Brady. Is Brady still playing?
Yes. Yeah. Brady's still playing. He's fired up and he's excited, for Ball State and everything. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that'd be a great story. If I could, maybe talk to him about getting ready to come to Ball State, maybe his family.
Yeah,
I'll be
that'd
in
be good.
contact with you about that here in the next couple weeks. Obviously, I want to keep you guys safe and everything. So it'll be a little bit. I'm just kind of doing this myself just to keep myself safe with the start of NewsLink coming up. And, I don't want it to become an issue to where I have to miss any more than the first week. So this was just kind of a choice on my end where I'm like, I better do this for now. It's probably the better for everyone. So that way when I go out and do interviews, we obviously require masks, social distancing, all that. We are allowed to do it in person, and I don't know how you guys are going to handle those interviews, but just whatever you guys can do, whatever works for you guys best, we want to make it as safe as possible. So
yeah, definitely. Sorry I lost you there. Yeah, definitely sorry about that. Yes, so we've had like a bunch of media on, and like it would not be a big deal. Like you said, the mask, the social distancing, we're just real careful. But yeah, we've got like Forrester's been down there, and the New Zaleski guy, and Brian Beaver, and they've all been around. It's all good. So yeah, I think you're on the right track. Doing the right thing now, and then when you get a chance to come back, we'd love to have you at Delta and check things out.
awesome. Well, hey, Coach, thank you very much for your time and everything. I'm going to go ahead and stop